You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done for professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Friday. Haha. Happy Friday. Wow, everybody's been working for the weekend, and here it is, one day early, thanks to the holiday we had. 2 weeks of holidays back to back, and you know what? In like another week, we got another holiday coming up. Martin Luther King Day? Yes, that is the day Jerome Crevaille, that's the holiday weekend, Jerome Crevaille got caught with $1 billion in unauthorized trades. They began on a Sunday night when Globex opened to unwind those trades from the Societe Generale Bank. And when we came in Tuesday morning, after the Martin Luther King holiday, on Monday, the Dow opened down 500 points. I never saw that before. It opened down 500 points. And it had to do with all those trades they were trying to unwind. Now, he got in a lot of trouble and actually went to jail for a short period of time. And he cost the bank and the clients of the bank, over $1 billion. Now, here's the kicker. If, when they found what he had done on Saturday or Sunday, if they would have just let the holiday play out until the markets opened Tuesday, we would probably see what we had seen on that Wednesday and Thursday, and that was a very strong rally. And in other words, he was right, and if they would have left those positions alone instead of losing $1 billion, the bank would have made $1 billion. I know. Makes you want to go buy a lottery ticket, huh? So anyway, happy Friday to each and every one of you. And if you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the very first time, let me extend a very special welcome to you. We're very glad to have you with us. This is, or we are in, our second decade of broadcast history. True story. Please grab your day planner, pencil us in for the next decade. Could you do that for me? All right. Thank you so much. While you're at it, go on iTunes and leave us a positive review. No, I'm just kidding. We don't ask you to do all that stuff. Hey, you guys know what's coming up at the end of the month? Let me look at the chat box. There is a really, really, really big event coming up at the end of the month. Who's the first one to type it into the chat box? In fact, it's actually not one big thing. It's 3 big things, all happening at the same time. Ooh. This does sound important, doesn't it? I can't believe nobody knows. Now, my apologies to the guys tuning in through YouTube to the live broadcast. I still don't have my screen up so that I can monitor the chat room over there. You guys are probably typing it in like crazy. I got nothing over here. All right, well, good. I get to tell you. And then you'll always remember that I was the one who enlightened you. Enlightened you? Is that a hint? Does that maybe tell somebody what I'm talking about? No? Okay. Alrighty then. I believe I have my phone prepared for just a time as this. Oh, by the way, if you can't see the chart I have up of the S&P 500, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll click the big microphone. You'll follow the instructions. Within 30 seconds, you'll be registered all the way through the end of the month. That means you get one-click access every single day. Or go to youtube.com/CFRN/live. Bookmark that page. You'll have one-click access every single day. All right? That's all it takes. Now, here's what's happening at the end of the month. We're about to see something that hasn't happened for more than 150 years. Does that give anybody a clue? Okay. Perhaps some of you were awestruck by the New Year's Day supermoon. Anybody? It was a biggie. Well, hold on to your hat. January 31st, around midnight, the full moon will not only be what is called a super moon, that's the closest in orbit it ever gets to the Earth, and man, does that thing look big. The full moon will not only be a super moon, it will be a blue moon and a blood moon. Now, for anyone who has a belief system that you can trade by the stars and not the bars, well, you want to listen up for this. Now, I'm convinced that planetary bodies do have an effect on things that happen on planet Earth and the markets. And before you say that's heresy, you astrologist, no. Astronomy and astrology is 2 very different things. We know that the gravitational pull of the moon on planet Earth controls the tides. It tells the tide how far it can go in and how far it's going to go out, right? So if the moon, which isn't really that big of a heavenly body, if it can control all the oceans on planet Earth, now that's a big body of water. Now you and I, we're small bodies of water. I think our body's something like 75% water. Even if you don't drink a lot of water, and you know you should drink more, but you're still 75% water. So if the moon can control the tides of those big bodies of water, what about our little bodies? So don't just rule it out. I'm not telling you to go read your horoscope or anything. I'm just saying, astrology and astronomy are two very different things. We look at this through the lens of astronomy. I had heard this for years, but I didn't really believe it until my uncle, I was probably, I don't know, 18 at the time, probably I just joined the Navy a year before. He got an administrative position. He was like a smart guy with computers and stuff, and he was like an administrative wonderkin. But anyway, emergency room at a hospital, and he started telling me that on full moon nights, the emergency room would fill up. Shootings, stabbings, car wrecks. Now we've all heard that. Okay, we've all heard that the emergency rooms see an uptick in activity when there's a full moon. But he, sat across from the dinner table and told me just how intense it could get on a full moon and how they prepared for it. They laid in extra supplies. They had extra people on staff. So, I don't know. Say what you will. Again, I didn't tell you to go read your horoscope. By the way, I'm a Libra on the cusp of Scorpio. But I don't believe that stuff anymore. I used to, but okay. Now the blue moon comes as it will be the second full moon in a month. That happens every 2.5 years, hence the saying, once in a blue moon. But wait, there's more. These two celestial events, the blue moon and the supermoon, will also coincide with a total lunar eclipse. You didn't see that coming, did you? And with Earth in between the sun and the moon, sunlight has to pass through the Earth's atmosphere, which scatters the green to violet light more than it scatters the red light. So the moon appears red. Yeah, a blood moon. Is that the blood moon in the Bible? If you go into the CFRN archives, we did a heck of a show back when that lunar event took place the last time. We had an expert on. A guy wrote a book. I can't even remember who it was at the moment, but it's in our archives. You can check it out if this stuff interests you. If it doesn't, just take a head break. Now, that's 3 big moon moments on one glorious night. Skywatchers are beside themselves. Sheldon and the gang, they're already camping out. The best place to see it, according to space.com, will be in Central and Eastern Asia, Indonesia, New Zealand, and Australia. The last time all 3 events lined up this perfectly was more than 150 years ago. According to the canon of lunar eclipses, the last time humans saw a total eclipse of a blue moon was March 31st, 1866. The U.S. will miss out on the full spectacle as the eclipse will happen too close to the moon's setting. Aww. But I bet you can watch it online. Maybe even on TV, who knows. You can see where the eclipse will be visible in the graphic below. I'm reading this off my phone, so you can't see it. The Northern Hemisphere times can be found here for Australia, blah, blah. Okay, now it's getting boring. And then there's a lot of clickbait underneath it. Okay, so to wrap this up, this segment, we're going to have on the January 31st, we're going to have a blue moon, a blood moon, a supermoon, and a total eclipse of the moon. Whoa. So even if you can't see it from the U.S., I bet you something unusual happens either that day or the following day in the markets. I bet it's not just ordinary, business is business. We'll see. We shall see. Okay, I'm going to pass this to Michael right now because he just sent me an angry little text with his little fist shaking. I'm ready.
I did not.
He did not. He didn't. He just said, I'm back. I didn't know he was gone, but hey, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah. I'm all right.
Well, have at it.
Okay. I will have at it.
If you
I'll
want.
have my way with it.
Unless you need to prepare yourself, and then I'll have at it.
No, I'm good. I can do it.
Oh, we just got our paperwork in before. Remember I told you, you were gone yesterday. We're going to be selling the Nano S at cryptodailyinfo.com and freecharts.com. And we're also going to be selling a virtual private network. Do you know what that is? Do you know why people use those?
A VPN? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, yeah, I've been working on establishing some affiliate relationships just because if you're going to have a website and people are going to come there and read the news, you might as well have some passive income so that at least the site pays for itself for hosting and that kind of thing.
Yes.
That's just smart business.
Okay.
All right. So
that's just smart business.
I just saw their email come in, and then they want me to get a hold of them. Or Jonah. She's a nice lady. All right. You already got the chart up, so you are anxious.
I do.
Are you doing trains and planes today?
No, next weekend. Next weekend. Are you kidding? I don't want to go up there.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's so cold. It's so cold up there. The ski resort where Jake does
How
the ski club
cold
is
it?
closed. The ski resort closed down.
Oh my goodness! You know it's cold when the ski resort closes. Yeah.
Yeah.
True story.
True story.
Well, the other night I don't watch the weather very often, but I was too lazy to get up and find the remote. It was minus 13 degrees in Chicago with the wind chill factor. And I'm thinking about Bert getting out of bed at like 4 in the morning to go to the train station out in suburbia so he can get on a train to go into the city to trudge down the street. Oh, does he have to catch another train?
I think he takes a train to a train.
Oh boy. I mean, that takes that. I don't think I got what it takes to do that. It's probably why I live in the desert, I guess. I just sit here and sweat. Minus 13 degrees. Every morning, 4 o'clock, get up, face that. 6-7 months out of the year. Nah. I couldn't.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't do it. The one winter I spent in Connecticut would have been 1977, maybe 78. It was now I grew up in Georgia, in a part of Georgia where there really is no snow. I'd seen snow before. Worst winter storm in over 100 years. I had a little beater of a car there on base. I was in the Navy at the time. I was at the New London Sub School. And I came out and my car was completely you couldn't see my car. That's how deep the snow was. And my buddy Logan, he had a little Carmen Ghia with a soft top, and I rolled up this huge snowball, and as he was getting in his car, I hurled it at him. Well, it missed him and it hit his back window. It's just plastic on a soft top Carmen Ghia. Crushed the whole. With my snowball, I crushed his whole roof in. He just stood there and looked at me like, I thought we were friends. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know I could throw a snowball that hard. It was huge.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my winter wonderland story. I don't have many because I lived in the desert for 30 plus years.
I have lots of stories about the winter.
But the coldest winter I ever spent was actually a summer in San Francisco. So. Rock and roll.
San Francisco.
Read the news. I'll be here when you're done.
Okay. All right. I got it. All right, everyone. Well, We had an open house today, and of course, when we have an open house, I have a red day. But anyway, we'll get to that in just a minute. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page here at cfrn.net. I don't think I started out right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 5th day of January, 2018. If you have not taken a free trial yet, then go to the home page here at cfrn.net, and right up here at the top where it says sign up for a CFRN live training room, 100% free trial, user indicators on our strategy, click here. Click there and you will be brought to this page where all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. You hit that submit button and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click on the confirmation link, you do not get a free trial, right? You got to make sure you click that confirmation link, okay? The recap, red day. We were down $50 today. We lost 8 ticks on the Russell, we lost 5 ticks on crude, and we made 4 ticks on gold. Minus 50, did not get the goal for the day. Red day. So on the month now, we're at 371.25. That's over 4 days, averaging $92 a day. On the year, no, well, it's all the same for the year too. Sorry, I didn't fix that yet down there. But on the month and on the year, we're at 371.25 over 4 days, averaging $92 a day. Last year, we finished with 33,146. That's one contract, 2 hours per day, over 243 days, averaging $136 a day. Okay, so hopefully this year is going to be a little better than last year, because I'm hoping we're going to get some good volatility in the markets. All right, next we'll go over the trade setups. All right, on gold, we had 2 ticks there. I missed that one. That would have gotten us the goal for the day if I had gotten that. We had a break even there and 2 more ticks here. And that was it on the gold today. Okay. On the euro, we had a missed trade right there, a missed trade over here. See, in the pre-market, we had some big news events this morning. So in the pre-market, there was a lot of movement. And then it gave it all back. And we only had this one break-even trade right here. This one took forever. And it came down and it hit my stop 1, 2, 3 times before it finally closed up above the MA1 and gave me a chance to get to break-even. We didn't have anything during the break, though. Okay. Crude oil. Crude oil. Right here. We had +3 on that one, and then we stopped out here to put us at -5. Now this stopped us out pretty much to the tick, and then it went down and did what it should have done to begin with, and we grabbed an entry on the second leg here, but it ended up being a break even. During the break, there was a bounce off the BBC right there, and that was it. That was it. Okay, now on the Russell, what did we do here on the Russell? We missed this one. We had a break even there, a break even there, and then we stopped out here. So we're -8 on the Russell. I'm just looking to see what else there was. There was a momentum short right here that we missed. Bounce off the BBC there that we missed. And that was it. That was it for the day. The ES. Not a lot of movement here on the ES today. Okay, the low of the day happens to be right down here at 24. I don't know why this black line is here. It doesn't seem right. But anyway, on the ES, I don't know what this black line is. I would say there was a shorting opportunity right here, but if that was a weekly trading zone, then that would not be the case. But I think we're way up above the zones, or we were way up above the zones anyway. Let me flip this to a higher time frame. Yeah, I have no idea why that line is there. Nope. Now I do. It is a weekly zone or something. I think it's getting painted by an indicator. Let me do this. View all active indicators. Properties. 27, 20, 720, 728. That is a weekly zone. Okay, that's why it's there. So right here is the highest weekly zone. And we'll flip back to a 4-tick range. That's what that is right there. All right, so it wouldn't surprise me if we end down below this zone by the end of the day today. So that would be a 5-point drop from here, 6-point drop. That would not surprise me at all. And that's it. That was it on the day today, guys. Let's go back here, take a quick look at the spreadsheet again. We lost 8 ticks on the Russell, 5 ticks on crude, and we're plus 4 ticks on gold. That put us down $50 on the day. And on the month now, 371.25. That's over 4 days, averaging 92 a day, and the same thing on the year. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we got to go here. Here. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page at cfrn.net. Right up here at the top where it says sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room, 100% free trial. User indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. When you click there, you will be brought to this page, where all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Hit the submit button, and you will be sent a confirmation link. Okay, you must click on the confirmation link. If you don't click the confirmation link, you do not get a free trial. It's as simple as that. All right? All right. That is it. With that, I will bring it back here to our home page, and we can pass it back out to Studio A.
I'm a little busy right now. You know.
Are you?
No,
You're a little busy?
No, well, I'm trying to email this Urjona because she needed some information from me.
Okay. Okay.
All I got to do now is say, I look forward to hearing from you. For those of you who are not partners or you weren't in the workshop last night, we found out that the Nano S, which is the hardware wallet we've been recommending, they're back ordered and we don't know how long. Now, we were slated to become a distributor for them, but it's kind of hard to distribute for them if they don't have any inventory. So we're going to be, this afternoon, I'm going to be trying to track down. I think that's really the best wallet because it handles Bitcoin, it handles Ethereum, and it handles any altcoins. Okay, so I really like that one. But one of our owners found a very nice wallet the other day called the Spartan, but I think the one he bought only handles Ethereum, which is okay because the CT Global coin is ERC20 compliant. It is built on the Ethereum blockchain. But come February, I recommend that everybody who's an owner, you need to have a hardware wallet, whether it's a Nano S, whether it's a Spartan, whether you buy it from us, you order it from France, however you get it, you just get it. But you got to make sure that it is ERC20 compliant. Very important. Otherwise, our token won't go in there. Okay. You can Google them up, and you can, if you just Google cryptocurrency hardware wallets, you'll get all these review sites, like the top 10, and you'll see that Nano S on almost every one of those review sites, it usually is in the number 1 or number 2 slot. And it's probably also why they're back ordered and don't have any product on the shelf, because it's so popular and the price is good. So anyway, once you see it appear on cryptodailyinfo.com and freecharts.com, you'll know that the inventory problem is over and you can buy from us if you want. So, not that we make a killing off a $60 product, but well, every little bit helps keep the lights on. Michael goes, I need to hang around this radio show more often. I learn all kinds of cool stuff.
All kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I am.
Is there anybody in the audience that has a question? Are there any unanswered questions?
No, there are no unanswered questions.
Not a one.
Mm.
Okay, now I'm going to be on the. I have a feeling Urjona might call, so I'm going to give her your phone number.
Okay.
And just tell her that the man's making radio right now. I mean, he's doing the magic. I mean, that's that's how we all eat.
The magic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, could you please tell me, or call him back in an hour, and give her my number?
Yes.
I just don't want to call and ring my phone while I'm trying to be, Joe Cool on the radio, right?
Is she going to call my number, or is she going to call the 949 number?
The 949 number.
Okay.
Can you tell the difference?
I can.
Okay. All right. Well, I've milked this for all I can, so I'll hit send. And I'll now turn my attention to getting these charts back over here. Like that. Now, for those of you that were tuned in the radio show yesterday, you're probably looking up there going, well, Mr. Reeves, it doesn't look like that little dip back to 27.15 going to happen this time. And it may not. You have to embrace all possibilities. But I will tell you this, there have been Friday afternoons when there was less than 30 minutes left in trading. And I've seen it drop that far. I'm not saying it's going to do it today. I'm not saying that at all. I thought it was going to do it right here. Okay, I even put a tweet out this morning. If you get a chance, sell 27.28. In fact, sell it like you stole it. That's what I said. I said sell it like you stole it. A lot of people are ticked off now because I gave them a 5-point stop too. We got a 13-point target, a 5-point stop. Doggone it, we got stopped out. And it was really this doji here. Okay, I mean, we've had this extended melt up, but I really thought that doji, slightly higher high, I was ready to go to town. But you know what? You see this candle here, the one that triggered the 27.28. Look how it closed. Way back up the pole. What does that tell us? It tells us that the presence of buyers here is so strong it left us it's like a popsicle, and that resulted in this. But there's sellers sitting right here. It can't go that way, and it can't seem to go this way. One side's going to break. May not break today. May break Sunday night. It could gap over these areas, but I don't know. We'll see. Shall see. Recap of the recap, my friend.
We had a red day today.
See, we're not ashamed of that. Just like on every other day, I knew what happened. I was there, but we don't run from the truth, and that's the truth about trading. You will get stopped out, and there will be days that you don't get your goal in 2 hours. See, we're only in there 2 hours.
There were some nice trades since then, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
One just happened on the Russell right there.
Oh, Ripple dips after Coinbase rejects rumors of adding new assets. Okay, the rumor is that Coinbase was going to add Ripple. And Coinbase came out yesterday and said, nah, I don't think so. Oh, have you been to Coinbase in the last couple days, Michael?
Just to check the value of Bitcoin.
Okay, well, did you see that big pop-up that says pay your taxes?
I did see that.
Okay, now they made it sound like you should. It almost, I got the feeling they were saying you should pay taxes on unrealized gains, because until you exit the market, you don't, you got a gain on paper.
Yeah.
But until, it's like with stocks. I mean, when you sell the stock, if you have a profit, then you owe tax on that profit, capital gains tax. But I guess they're just trying to get out in front of this whole thing and be super careful. Now, I could be wrong. There may be something different about this, but it would be like your home appreciating in value, and you got to pay some kind of tax on the increased value of your home, which 3 years from now could go away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, you do end up paying a tax on it, but not a sales tax. It's a real estate tax.
right. Well, you pay, if you make a profit, you pay capital gains tax when you sell your house or a commercial building. So, anyway. All right. What is in the chat box? I see there's a little question mark over there. Okay. I like that. The heavens declare his glory. Now that's in a popular contemporary Christian song as well. Mike just gave us a scripture, Proverbs 8:29. God gave the seas boudre, so the waters would not overlap his command when he marked the foundation of earth. The heavens declare his glory. Yes, true. Ultimately it is God who controls how far the tide comes in and how far it goes out. But once he figured it out and nailed it, he just looked at the man and the moon and said, hey, this is what I made you for. Light at night and to control these tides, because I got other stuff to do. You know, they're fighting in the Mideast and I got to go check on that. Seriously. Who makes the Nano S? Ledger. Ledger. If you just Google Nano S, it'll pop up the Ledger website. Joan says, I heard some CPAs saying the IRS will be looking for taxes on trading between cryptos on the exchange, even without taking any out in USD. Well, you know, Joan, I don't doubt that they will. I just don't know. I mean, they would literally have to rewrite our tax law for you to have to pay taxes on unrealized gains. But let me just say this. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. I don't even play one on the radio. Okay? Go to a professional and ask them whether or not boundary. Okay, that's what it was. Go to your CPA. Go to your attorney. Go to some kind of professional and ask them, hey, you know, I bought 5,000 of Bitcoin back so-and-so, and now it's worth 25,000. Do I owe tax on that profit if I haven't sold anything yet? Because all you've done is take money out of your pocket to invest. You haven't put any money in your pocket. So, Mike, we have a partner who's a CPA, right? Isn't Dan a CPA? Dan A?
Yeah. I think Dan is, and I think we have more than one partner who's a CPA.
Okay,
and
maybe
Jade
we could.
Jade is actually a CPA.
Oh, is she? Okay, well maybe she could look into it for us and see what the ruling is going to be. Well, actually, I'm meeting with my CPA next week, and a few other guys in suits. So I'll ask him. Yeah.
Okay. That seems.
But Jada, you know, this way we get. Oh, you know what? I think I left John hanging. I'm sorry, John. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Hi there.
I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to leave you hanging like that.
That's okay.
Mike, say hi to John.
Hello,
Hey,
Mike.
John. How are you doing?
Well, you know what? I think I sent Dwayne a thing yesterday about this record run-up in gold. I guess it's harder for gold to go up 10 or 11 days in a row than the stock market, which has done that quite a bit recently. But I think we had 14 I think the best is about 14 record, or 14 days up in a row is about as good as it got. Maybe 15. I think we did possibly got to 115 this year. By the way, Trump put out a thing saying, you know, talking about how much the Dow's gone up since the election, but I'm not sure he's done it the way I would do it, which is taking from the low of the election night to where we are today. I think I'm going to do the figures over the weekend, but I think the NASDAQ is up somewhere in the region of about 45%. And I mean, there's never ever been anything like this before. We've never had a year in the entire 100, maybe the 200-year history of the Dow where
John,
we've gone up.
I'm sorry. I just want to tell you, I have got that chart up if you want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. In a minute. That we've never had a year where the Dow's gone up sorry, the market's gone up, every month for the year. That's a first, and that shows you some of the power of what's going on behind the scenes. But I believe, anybody who's got half a brain today, I think, is in agreement that the NASDAQ today is like the Dow of the past. In other words, the Dow is no longer the Dow of the past. The NASDAQ today is the leading market in the world. And that being the case, I think Trump has just blown away all other presidents in history with the 45% odd gain in the NASDAQ from the lows of election night to today. And then if you go back, I'm the only guy in the world who's talked about this, because most of the ignoramuses out there don't understand what's going on. When they say it's Obama's rally and this sort of thing, the fact of the matter is the rally started on September the 29th of 2015, when, within 24 hours of Trump announcing his tax plan, the Dow went on a screaming upward move of 2,000 points, which we called ahead of time. We actually said, get ready for a 2,000 point move, and that's what we got up to the top.
John, the move from 24 to 25, that's the fastest the Dow has ever cleared 1,000 points.
Right, and you know what? We might even get a faster one before it's all over. I think between now and 30,000, we're going to get another. We're going to probably get 1,000 points in less than 20 days. It might even be a 10-day thing, because when this thing goes totally parabolic, it'll blow people away. And remember, 9 times out of 10, when you get a 25 or 30% up year, which we've kind of had, you usually get about a 10%, at least a 10% more the following year. And that alone takes us up to around 27,000 to maybe 28,000, somewhere in that range. And the final run up, the final spike could be a very fast kind of affair. But you have to look at the NASDAQ. I think the NASDAQ will give you better. Right now. Yeah, the NASDAQ, the composite, but in the composite, NASDAQ composite. I mean, we've gone through.
What have I got to do differently to put in the composite? I mean, I've got NQH8. That's the futures contract that we trade.
Yeah, no, you need a COMPX or a COMPQ.
I don't think if it's not a futures contract, this platform won't pull it up.
Okay, can you pull up stockcharts.com?
Oh, well, yeah, I can go right here, and I can go right here.
You'll get it on, and just put in
Mike,
CO.
if you're still there, look at Ethereum. It broke 1,000 today.
Broke 1,000?
It sold right off, but that's okay. I mean, my goodness. We got into that at 300.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if a crypto dog currency can get
I got to read that.
$1 billion.
I haven't read. I told him about it last night in the workshop. I said this currency that started out as a joke. I call it the Dogecoin, DOGECOIN. It hit $1 billion in market cap yesterday, and it was meant to be. And
then there's the founder of Ripple, who's worth more than Zuckerberg.
Right.
And the Google guys, it's just unbelievable.
Now, John, what was the symbol you wanted me to try? Tell me again.
Okay, if you go, are you at?
I'm at my charts. I think it'll work. Go ahead.
COMP. It's either COMPQ or COMPX.
COMPQ. I got nothing. COMPX. COMPX International Incorporated. Nope, that's not it. I got all stocks, futures, forex, CFD, cryptocurrency.
Well, go
indexes.
Yeah, indexes.
Okay, here's the Dow, the dollar, the Nifty 50. You see me scrolling down? If you spot it, just let me know.
Not there yet.
I may have to go to a different chart than this. Okay, so where do we...
Go to stockcharts.com.
Hey, Michael, are you still there?
Okay,
I am.
just stick in dollar
is-
sign.
Hang on one second, John. Michael, this is the head and shoulders I was telling you guys about last night on the monthly chart, or this morning. Look at
Yeah.
that, man.
I see it.
And you got a 16-year trend line, support line. John's going to talk about that in a minute, but let me get over here. Okay, John, tell me this symbol again.
Dollar sign.
Dollar sign, okay.
COMP.
COMP. NASDAQ
Q. There
Composite.
you go. Q.
Right
Yeah,
there.
there you go. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Probably need to go to a longer term chart.
Okay, this is
weekly.
daily. What do you want to go to?
Weekly. I think it only has the weekly.
Okay. Okay, why can't something's not? You see my cursor there?
Yeah.
I mean, if I go up here, I mean. Oh,
Well, look. I can
oh, got it. Oh, there we go. Weekly. Okay.
update.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is very interesting because back in, I believe the NASDAQ is doing what the Dow did in the 90s. Okay. So we were at about 3,800, I believe, on December the 12th of 1994, which was a very rough year. And 1994 is very similar to the basing out that you're seeing here on the left-hand side of the page.
Over here.
And yeah, and then we got up towards 5,000, and that's sometime actually on December the 12th, 1994. I said the Dow is going to go up 2,000 points over the next year or so, 18 months, and I was kind of got hate mail for it.
Now, back in the real estate crash day, or was it? What was the all-time high of the NASDAQ until recently? You know, people thought it was never going to get back there.
5,000. Yeah, and so the 5,000 is really important because it's a lot like the Dow in at the beginning of 94. We were up about I think we got up to 3,800. Then we went down to 3,300, I think, and then we got back up towards the end of December, and then we took off. And once we broke over 5,000, we kind of went on a tear all the way to not just 10,000, but we got to 11,000. And I believe the NASDAQ is going to go to 11,000. In fact, I'll say it here I think I've said it before on this show, but I'm going to say it again. I already put this out months ago, but I believe the NASDAQ is going to go to 11,000 before this bull market is over. And I'm inclined to think it's going to go parabolic because this market just doesn't like pullbacks. That's the hardest thing about this market now. You know, it's gone from being the most hated bull market for the last eight years before this year, because people couldn't deal with the way it was,
John,
going up.
is that chart flashing on and off on your screen?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it is.
that's killing me. I don't know what in the world would cause that to happen.
Anyway, you can see that the likelihood of this thing going parabolic, and the Dow and the S&P going parabolic as well, is very, very high. Now, I believe in the next few days that I wouldn't rule out that in the same way we got the Brian Ross thing came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Possibly next week. It looks like the 5 days of the year, the 5 up days of the year are pretty much in place unless we have a really bad sell-off this afternoon. That's a really bullish thing in of itself. So assuming that we can eke out a gain on Monday, that'll be 5 days up in a row. That's as good as it gets, and it's actually the first time that's happened in a long, long time.
Did you hear me talking about what's happening on January 31st?
No.
We have a super moon.
Oh yeah,
We have a
I'm aware of
blue
that.
moon.
Don't worry.
We have a blood moon, and we have a total eclipse of the moon.
Yeah, it could be a top. It could be a top. For sure.
Now, are you of the belief system that those types of things, and I'm not talking astrology, I'm talking astronomy, do you think those types of events have an effect on people on planet Earth and their activities?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do too. And some people go,
and
"Oh man,
look,
You're practicing witchcraft.
You know,
Well,
days
science.
that you know, those days you sometimes wake up and you don't feel very good. Usually, I believe, are caused by gravitational forces that affect everybody. And you know, when you get these, look, when all the planets are lined up, and when you get these eclipses, I mean, look, I said this, geez, 10 years ago on this show, I came up with this theory about earthquakes, that when I mean, if you remember, we had a moon sometime around the Mexican earthquakes. There was some stresses. We had the eclipse of the sun right before that, right? The Mexican earthquake. So when you get these planetary alignments and things, they definitely can affect the Earth. I also believe the Korean nuclear test was the chief responsibility for the Mexican earthquake, because the ring of fire around the Pacific, it's kind of like a domino effect, you know, and it set off all these chain, you know, all these eruptions, and the Bali eruption and all these eruptions got triggered. And look, you know, there's a couple of volcanoes. There's one in Guatemala that's gone crazy recently. Really, it was a dramatic eruption just a week or two ago. So I think this Korean thing has definitely you know, set off some sort of reverberations that have kind of crescendoed, you know, like throwing a stone into the water. You know, the waves have kind of reverberated. And even in California the other day, there was a fault yesterday. I think there was an earthquake yesterday. And you know, one of the things that is a big unknown is, you know, we never know when we're going to get the big one, but that could really, you know, derail everything, because that's what happened in Japan after the Japanese market peaked in '89 at 40,000. You know, it was on the way down, and I think it was in '95, the Kobe, 95 or 96, the Kobe earthquake, you know, literally torpedoed the Japanese market big time. And that, you know, that's when that guy lost $1 billion overnight in Singapore. Nick Leeson.
Yeah.
So because he bet on the market going up, and he got caught in that earthquake and couldn't get out.
Oh, that's
so
right. What was he, short the yen or long the yen?
No, he was long he was long the Nikkei. Long the
Nikkei, okay.
Yeah. So going back to the Nasdaq, I really think it's plausible that in possibly as soon as the next year, and look, this is actually conservative. You know, in 1998, we had an extreme bottom in 1998, in the summer of '98 on the stock market, right? And then we took off, and I think we had an up year in the Nasdaq. It might have been 20 or 30%. 1999, the Nasdaq went up 100%. So I'm only looking for 50% from here to get to 11,000. So 50, you know, maybe another 40 or 50%. So it's absolutely possible. And then when you look at, you know, there's a price target on Amazon of 1,400. There's a price target on Nvidia at 240. We just went back long. Actually, we had a stop in yesterday about 213.5, and we got executed this morning. So it's 2157 right now. We had a stop in on Apple. We had a buy stop on Apple at about 173 or 33, I think. It's at 107. It just hit 175. We have a sell stop just under the market on both these. The Nasdaq has gone to a new high again today. And actually, based on the charts, if we're able to break out to, you know, usually when you get a jobs, you know, in a way, you know, they always find, almost for years now, when they come out with these job numbers, if they're if they don't come in strong enough like today, it's usually bullish, because it means the Fed won't raise rates, you know, as much as they intend to. So the market gets a lift, whether it's kind of, you know, whether if the job market is super strong, the market goes up. If it's weak, the market goes up. It just always, you know, it's just been going up. Almost every jobs day, you know, for the last couple of years, the market's been going up. So today is no exception.
So what are they saying, that we added 2 million jobs in 2017 and the unemployment rate hit a 17-year low?
Well, the shock, guess what happened in Mexico? Mexico's unemployment rate is down to 3.5%. And Mexico is actually, Mexico and Canada have tended to lead the U.S., because sometimes they get the benefit of the whale in the middle before the whale gets the benefit. And that's been happening quite a bit during this recovery. Canada started growing more. Canada had some shocking growth a few years ago, 4 or 5% or more, and Mexico also had some pretty big growth spurts. So the fact that Mexican unemployment is down to 3.5%, that's an incredible number, and the likelihood of the U.S. going to 3.5% this year is very real, actually. So I think that remember, there's a possibility the first quarter could be a slowdown in growth because of the weather and everything else, and but then the market could heat up really strongly in the second and third quarter. So we might look, if we have a 3% first quarter, that'd be awesome. That would be huge. That would be the strongest first quarter in probably 2 decades, maybe. But if we start accelerating into the second quarter and third quarter, then I do believe the Fed will start raising rates more rapidly, and that will be like throwing gasoline on the fire, and the market could be roaring by the 2018 midterms. And if we're under 4% unemployment, or even as low as 3.5%, I think it'd be pretty hard to not vote Republican for most of these seats.
Based on historical observance, Republicans will lose the midterm elections.
Yeah, but I'm not buying. I'm not buying that. Because the reason why that happens is because in most of the previous cycles, the Republicans and the Democrats have often deliberately, caused the market to go into a recession in the first year or two. The idea being that if you get all the misery out of the way at the start of a term, and then you recover and get the economy roaring by the third or fourth year, you win a second term. That wasn't the risk of trying to do that in this era was just too dangerous, because we would have probably gone into a depression, because if we don't grow our way out of this problem, we're never going to get out of it. And everything they're doing right now is the right formula for the country to grow its way out of debt. And listen, you have to go back in history. But whether we've been here twice before. We've been at 100% debt to GDP, and we've gone back down. To almost no debt. No debt. And unfortunately, then we got things. We got back to this is the third time that we've got to this situation. But given the way we're moving right now, I would say the odds are fairly high that we're going to get ahead of this. The growth, if Trump can grow the economy at 4 or 5% or even 6%, I mean, it is going to solve a lot of issues. I mean, it's going to possibly reduce the debt significantly, and over time the most important thing is it's not so much getting rid of the debt, it's getting the private sector and the economy to grow faster than the government. That's the key, that's the secret. And if they can cut some of the government back, which Trump's already doing, then you really have a winning formula. And I think the market is seeing that long way ahead of time. So growth solves all problems. And I mean, look, Summers, former Treasury Secretary, who's complaining, saying this is a disaster. He's his head examined. He's going on he used to say before all this happened, if we get only a 0.5% growth or even a 0.25% growth the next 30 or 40 years, we're going to solve all our problems. Well, boy, we're right now we're doing 10 times that, almost 10 times what he was asking for. So we're on the right track, and it's going to be it's going to be phenomenal, because there's an automatic, without look, just based on norms from the time the Fed first raised rates, we're not expecting a recession till 2020. And given the impetus that's going on right now, you really have to almost reset. It's almost like, let's just take the rate hike that just happened in December, because that's I'm not even sure we're over 1% yet. If you take that as the kickoff point, we're 4 years away from a recession right now, virtually, 21, 22. Now, the next, and look, if Trump gets reelected, we're probably going to get a huge, the 2021 and 22 will be huge up years, because the second-term president always gets a couple of good years to start with. I think the trouble's going to come in 3 and 4, and that's when gold is going to go to about $8,000 or $10,000, because trouble's going to come eventually. And you know what? The reason I'm saying all this is because I'm a student of history, and we had a kind of, remember, we're in 2018, the First World War ended in 2018. There was a kind of a boom going into the 20s, and we had a big run into the early 20s. And then there was a very big correction in the early 20s that almost took us back to what would be the equivalent of going back to the 2009 bottom. So, we might have a really, really bad crash in 2022, 23, 24, just like we had in 09. That takes us almost back to the reset button, right? Well, what do you think is going to happen to gold when we have that crash? We're going to go to $8,000 or $10,000, because who knows what they're going to have to do to get us out of, But then we'll get a reset, just like the Roaring 20s, and we're probably going to get a huge new rally into the 2030s, just like we did in the 20s, and. What's going to be powering it? Flying cars, automatic driving cars, maybe power units, and all kinds of other things that are going to be all the rage in the next decade, including hypersonic transport and space travel and things. So, it's awesome what's coming.
Well, Elon went to the White House to pitch Trump on his colonization of Mars thing.
Trump that's nonsense.
Trump didn't throw him out.
Anybody they're never going to go to Mars, unless at least for decades. It is a suicide mission. It's a lot of nonsense.
They're telling people up front, if you go, you ain't coming back. It's a one-way ticket. And they've been weeding people out. And this one lady, she wanted to go. And her husband goes, but you'll never come back. And she goes, well, I like being your wife, but I like being an astronaut more. And then she got cut in the next round. And so she had to come back home with her tail between her legs. And I don't know if he kept her or kicked her out or it was kind of a sad story. I felt sorry for the guy, His wife chose Mars over him.
Yeah. Look, people do crazy things, but this Mars thing is just a non-starter. It's a complete waste of money, it's light years away from happening. Light years away. They're going to have to come up with something, radiation-proof space vehicles, and a whole year's trip, with people stuck in a tube for a whole year. It's a tough assignment,
Well, this groundbreaking thing they did with being able to send a rocket up and then bring it back down and land it so they can use it over again.
Brilliant!
That's pretty cool, man. Wow.
Yeah. brilliant. Look, getting into space and having a look at the world from up above is as good as going anywhere, frankly, and maybe going to the moon. I mean, the moon is could become a destination in the future, but Mars is just it's not a round trip. It's a one-way trip, as you say.
Yep.
So, anyway, let's go to the gold.
I'm on the gold chart right now.
Yeah. As I was saying earlier on, it is tougher for gold to go up than the market from what we've seen. So, I was actually a little bit surprised that the best, streak we've ever had is 10 days uninterrupted, and we just did that in the last 10 days. And you can go back and listen to what I said on this show before it happened. I said this market's going to run away from the Fed bottom, and if you're not on board, you're going to miss it. And this market looks to me like it's going to accelerate higher. And they're all you had these uninterrupted gold. Right now we're positive. We're just by one cent or 10 cents, and if we can eke out a gain today, that will be pretty big. If we can eke out a gain on Monday, we'll break the record. We'll have the longest uninterrupted win streak ever, and I think that bodes extremely well for the gold. And if we go through to Tuesday or Wednesday or even all of next week, that would be awesome, because it's telling you that there's a very big move ahead. And I think that that chart that I didn't have the benefit of that chart yesterday because I only found it after we talked about it on the radio, but we showed that the head and shoulders bottom and the measured move, which takes us to about 1700.
This chart shows it really, really well.
Yeah, and what that chart shows, why I got pretty excited looking at it last night, is because it shows the enormity of the next move that's coming. And look at the enormity of the move that remember, we've never gone up 10 years in a row, 10 or 11 years in a row on gold ever before. And that is a very big deal in of itself. And it really tells you that the next, actually I can almost visualize gold going parabolic off this breakout that's developing right now. And so the measured move's an easy run to about 1700, but then it's much more like 3000. Actually, it's almost to 5000. This next run in gold from where we are right now. And look, this is hard to believe, but you have to consider. First of all, I'll have this in my gold report. That hopefully I'll have it finished by the weekend, by next week. The first thing I'm going to get people to look at when they look at this report is to look at where we are today in the gold bull market that's just starting, and and how it compares with the previous bull markets that have happened in gold. And it's a real eye-opener, because it's probably a little bit like looking at the stock market in 2011, and people and saying, well, we haven't done much yet, right, off the 2009 bottom. Compared to all the previous bull markets in stocks, including the 90s and the 80s and everything, right? Mm-hmm. So the outlook was pretty grim. And remember, here's the biggest stunner. The sentiment in 2009 was about zero, and it was fairly close to zero in 2011. When Europe was cratering on the brink, the banks were going under, and we had a 20% fall in 20 days in July, from July 26th or 7th down to the bottom, and then we trundled along for a couple of months, and then we took off on October the 4th, and we've never looked back apart from the 15-16 corrections. So in 2011, so we're looking at a gold bull market today that almost hasn't moved in comparison with previous bull markets, and we're at the same point in the stock market in 2011. Now, this is hard to believe, but the short interest on the New York Stock Exchange was lower it was higher in 2011 than it was in 2009, even though we ran up like 50% or something, or 30%, whatever it was. So guess what happened to the silver and gold in the last few months. We had the biggest short interest. We had a bigger short interest in gold and silver than we had at the bottom 2 years ago. So we are emulating the stock market by a delay of about 5 or 6 years. And as I said yesterday, the hangover that's coming from the stock market boom will be the beneficiary of gold in the years to come. And right now, look at what happened. What happened from October 24th, 2011 through December 2015. How much did we go up? Like a couple of 100%. That's where we're going with gold right now. What's a couple of 100%? That takes us up to 6,000.
Sure.
So take this seriously, because this is probably going to be the bull market of our lifetime, because the one thing about gold versus stocks is that the stocks tend to go up 10 times more than the gold itself. Why? Because once you cover your cost of mining, every dollar that you make above it, every dollar increase in the price of gold is pure profit. So if you have a cost, some companies have an $1,100 break even, some even have a $1,300 break even, so they're barely making money right now. If you've got properties that can make money at $400 or $500 gold, you got a huge built-in profit already in your production, and that's what they're doing at Santa Fe, Santa Fe Gold, which is presumably why you're making it your stock of the year. And
2017 and 2018.
Right, and it's up almost 400% in 2017, and it's already up here in 18. So it's pushing a little bit higher already. But here's the thing: if we just go to 1,700, we're going to have a mini mania for gold stocks, and that could happen in this quarter. We could be at 1,700 by the end of this quarter, the way we're going. If we start going into the 2,000, 3,000, I mean, any piece of ground on the planet that's got any whiff of gold is going to become valuable. So very valuable. So the strategy at Santa Fe has been to acquire as much property as possible while nobody's looking. And over the last year or two, when people have, not been too interested in gold, and being able to convert those properties into producing entities, which is around the corner. And the quicker we can do that, the more valuable the stock's going to become very quickly. So there's a lot of things happening. There's a tremendous amount of news in the pipeline, according to the recent releases. And there's been quite a lot of news in the last week or few weeks, because they've just acquired this silver mine, which is a really, really big deal. And they've got some incredible properties already under their belt, and hopefully we'll have some more soon. So it's a very exciting play, but the benefit
Santa Fe Gold expected to announce at least 4 new acquisitions in the first quarter of 2018. I don't think I shared that with the audience when that came out, December 28th.
Right. So, and they also got another $1 million recently in funding, with more than $6 million now, about $6.5 million.
We did talk about that, and we just talked about this, and we talked about this, but we never covered that.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting, and there's a lot of going on behind the scenes. And you've got a highly experienced CEO who's, this guy's been, heading at the top, at the highest management of a company where they do 50,000 tons a day, 100,000 tons a day. So he's not intimidated by anything, and his knowledge of gold properties around the world is just mind-boggling. It's second to none, and he knows where all the good spots are. He knows where the high-yielding deposits are, and he did a fantastic job in this silver mine. I mean, he got the price down from 6 million to 3 million. And it's, I'll let the company tell you how valuable they think this mine really is when they put news out. But it's a lot more than, well, I would say it's many, many multiples of what we paid for it. So it's potentially a very, very big deal. And you know, according to Tom, he thinks that's, you know, we own some Santa Fe owns properties in some of the highest mineral highest mineral content anywhere on the planet in the mines that Santa Fe has acquired. Now the world doesn't know that yet. I think when the world figures out what's going on there, and by the way, they have announced that they've seen, you know, they got silver nuggets, very sizable silver nuggets.
Now let me just insert this for some people who may have never thought about it. Okay, many of the really awesome gold and silver properties in the world are in places like you don't want to go to. I mean, you know, isolated, turbulent countries.
Arctic.
Arctic. When you have properties of this quality in the United States, you know, in New Mexico where the weather's pretty pleasant, it adds a whole new dimension. And if you're trying to truck some stuff out of, you know, some mountainside in Peru, that's a little bit difficult. But when you're inside the U.S. and everything's fine and your flotation and all that's just down the road, or, you know, I still see this as a buyout target. That's just my own personal opinion. It's not anything anyone has told me. I believe this company is becoming too valuable, property-wise, claim-wise, for some major miner to not pick it up. I don't know. I mean, if they came in and offered us a premium at today's price, I don't know if current management would accept that or not. I think we're worth well north of $1, but again, I'm not a prophet, and I'm not prophesying anything. I have heard a lot of people say that they think 60 cents is a reasonable number, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. The plan is definitely to build the assets as quickly as possible, and then let the value of the gold hopefully rise and lift the value of the company along with it, and then at the same time get production going from the choicest, from, you know, from the path of least, you know, from the low hanging fruit to start with, you know, get some decent revenues going from the easiest to mine properties, and you know, I think that alone will support or increase the value of everything else that the company is doing. So, I think on the timeline, we've got, you know, I mean, all I can say is, you know, you only have to go back in history and look at you know, some stocks that are, I mean, they used to say in the old days, you know, they go from pennies to dollars. You know, they used to be called penny dreadfuls, and then become dollar stocks. So, and that happens, you know, in each mining boom. It's just a fact of life. But this one is shaping up to be the biggest boom ever, because you know, if we start getting up into the 3, 4, 5, 6, 10,000 gold, you know, look, $2,000 or $3,000 gold alone is going to just make gold companies, the majors, very, very profitable overnight. And the fact of the matter is, the majors don't have enough assets right now to increase production. The production is actually decreasing, and it's scheduled to decrease over the coming years, because the last 4 years have been so brutal that they have you know, shut down most new discoveries. I mean, right. You know, most new exploration budgets, and the same thing's happening with the oil. I mean, they've taken $500 billion of new investment in oil off the market in the last couple of years. So that's going to lead to a shortage in the 20s.
That's right.
Which we've talked about before. You know, you can't really see it today, but it's coming, because everybody forgets that every year we lose 5 million barrels a day, and you don't have to get it from me. You can listen to the expert.
Just don't let Jeff Sessions get involved.
Right. Well, you know,
you know what he said yesterday afternoon? He is repealing the Obama policy of allowing states to decide whether or not cannabis would be legal for medical purposes, for recreational use. Obama said, I'm going to leave it up to the states. Well, Jeff Sessions says, well, I'm coming with a big stick. Federal law is federal law. I'm going to, even in states where it's been legalized, I am going to repeal that policy, and I'm going to hand the power to the prosecutors. And so if a prosecutor decides that they want to prosecute somebody based on federal law, even though it's legal, and California is getting 100,000 jobs from the passage of this bill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Trump's all about, is, you know, jobs, jobs, jobs. And Sessions, because he's never fired up a doobie, you know, and he thinks it's like, oh, I don't want my kids mainlining pot, you know, shooting it in their arms. Oh my God.
Well,
Trump's
I think it'll get worked out. I think it'll get worked out. It won't get front over too much. Let's concentrate on you know, gold and where it's going. That's more important right now.
Well, that's the green gold. I mean, do you watch that TV show at night on CNBC, The Prophet?
I do, yeah. I see he's
him?
involved, yeah.
Did you see him the other night in California? Yeah. I missed it.
Yeah.
I taped it, so I'm going to go watch it over the weekend.
Yeah. So, anyway, right now we're half a dollar more on gold. So we're up on the gold. So we're actually breaking that record right now. If we close, and remember what I said about platinum, we're just hit 975 for the first time off this low, and I believe platinum is going to accelerate higher and start to close the gap with gold and silver. Gold rather, close the gap with gold in time. That will be very, very bullish.
I know somebody who would be very happy if silver could get itself up over $20.
I think it's coming. It's coming.
It's just been sitting still for a year.
We were at 1730 yesterday. We went down to 1715 overnight. We're back up to 1730 again, and it really looks like you know, we might. It started. The gold looks. If we can get over 23, 24, we might end up at 1330 here within the next few trading hours, either tonight or Sunday night. And if we gap higher on Sunday night and gap and go in the golds, you could come in here on Monday. You know, we could be heading for. We could be actually on our way to 1360 very, very rapidly, because we're breaking out above that trend line. And that's good. And the fact that we couldn't. Let me ask
you a question. If you bought silver, physical silver, at 17, and it went to 34, would you stay with the entire position, or would you sell half of it so that you, in effect, had a free investment there?
You mean so it goes from 17 to 34?
Yeah. Let's say you filled up a gun safe with bars of silver at $17 and it went to 34. Would you liquidate half of it, or would you stick with it?
No, I'd stay with it.
What part do you start? When do you start selling? At 50?
When the market tells me to sell.
Oh, I love that answer, because I tell people that all the time. I go, I show them the chart, and I go, it's right there.
Yeah.
Just read the chart and do what it tells you. Good answer.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like the people, you know, you get these university professors who say, you know, they sold Apple when it was like $50 or $30. I mean, you have to be, you know, why do you think we put a buy stop out on Apple last night at 173? I mean, Apple pulled back for some reason, you know, some kind of a chip flaw or something, pulled back yesterday and got down below 173 briefly, and here we are. It's back up another $1.50. Look at Amazon. I mean, we have almost a standing rule now to buy new highs on everything, including the indices, over the last, you know, few weeks, because you know, we normally try and catch these tops, but if you're wrong, you have to rebuy them right above, you know, right above these tops. So because this is a market like we've never seen before. And even though I said the other day it's kind of risky buying these new highs, you have to kind of do it. You know, that's why your system works, Dwayne, because you know, whether it's on the upside or the downside, you go back and look at almost every major move we've had up and down this year, your system has caught it one way or another. Now, it's very hard to do it. Nothing is easy. If it was that easy to make money in these markets, everybody would be doing it. But
there'd be nobody to cook our hamburgers and wash our car. You got it.
Exactly.
Build our house.
So but it takes discipline, and it takes look. The more automated a system is, and I really automate I'm automating my alerts more and more because they work. And then I don't have to worry about, because half the thing that people can't get their head around. I mean, I can directly, if you go back and Google 2004, Buffett, I think Gross and another guy, three, legends, said, and this is a quote. You remember where we were in 2004? We were kind of like 2011. Okay, and they were saying we're going to have they almost said we're going to have a boring decade of anemic growth. Yeah. Because remember, we'd been through the NASDAQ crash and we were sort of, licking our wounds kind of thing, and we just got a bit of a boost in 2003 to 2004. And next thing you know, you have this mega, we had the huge up move to 2007. Which was a huge up move. I mean, for God's sake, Bear Stearns went to $170, and all these bank stocks went through the roof, right? So,
Bear Stearns. You know what? Every time that name comes up, I cannot help but remember Kramer.
Right. Yeah. Right.
He's on TV and he tells everybody that Bear Stearns is the safest investment on the planet. 2 weeks later, he's sitting in a little canoe. Same studio. I mean, tape was rolling the first time. He sits in that canoe. He starts paddling, and he goes, "I told you guys. I warned you people." And Rick Santelli, the next morning when Rick Santelli, when he got on TV the next morning, he lit into Kramer and ripped him a new one. But no producers. Nobody in management at CNBC, nobody censored him, nobody clocked him. I mean, on public television, he told people, buy it, it's the safest thing in the world, then turns right around and goes, "I told you to sell it." No, he didn't. He didn't.
Well, remember, look, there's no stock in the world is safe.
Any guy that doesn't know how to roll up his shirt sleeves properly to be elegant, I got news for him.
You should always remember that. But because the one that we called it on the show, actually. Remember Citigroup, I'll never forget it. We got to 55, right? And there were several things that happened in and around that date. I think the first signs of trouble at Bear Stearns happened. I think we shorted the stock at $169, somewhere up in the high 160s. Then a guy came on CNBC and he was sort of saying, just like Akampora yesterday, coming out and saying he's so bullish he's having to restrain himself. and he's right so far, but I mean, you have to be careful when people come out and start saying this sort of stuff, at the top of the market. And so this fellow from is lauding Merrill Lynch and saying, I'm so bullish on this stock, it just made a new high. And this, so I did some checking, and I saw that it didn't make a new high. So we immediately put a sell recommendation on that stock at $94, I think it was 96, maybe 94, 96 or somewhere like that. And we put a short recommendation to short it as well. And then Prince Al Walid came out and Citigroup just hit 55. He came on TV. The stock was at $54. He said, "I will never sell my Citigroup stock," and that's when I went short Citigroup. So we sold Citigroup and went short right there and then, and we bought it back at 68 cents. I think it was about almost a low on March 6, 2009. So that, and as you know, we called it at 3:25 in the afternoon. We went from literally 100% bearish to 100% bullish, and by 3:40 we went to maximum position long on that very date, and we've basically been, we're still long today ever since, apart from the trading opportunities we've had during these pullbacks. So that's our feeling about the market. And
check this out. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought. I apologize.
No, just that we have to, You have to take everything day by day. If there's something happens over the weekend, one of these weekends something's going to happen,
Yep.
and we come in the morning and our jaws are going to drop because the Dow could be down 500 or 1,000 points. It really could happen. So you have to be prepared for that, one way or another. So.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, that whole Bear Stearns thing, that happened over the weekend.
Yep.
You ready for a blast from the past? Take a look at the screen. I just Googled MODAR, Momentum Radar. Christian Traders deploys real-time data delivery service. This was February 8th of 2005. Christian Traders, the internet's fastest growing faith-based online investment community, is now offering a 30-day free trial to MODAR. MODAR, which stands for Momentum Radar, is fully compatible with all instant messaging systems. The first alert generated and deployed across the network was Delta Mining and Exploration on Friday, February 4th. On Monday morning, the stock gapped up 14% at the open and hit a daily high 43% above Friday's close. I could go on, but I feel bad patting myself on the back. So this, guys, Christian Traders, I know some of you might think, well, it's a new thing. Actually, Christian Traders has been in existence and had a website since 2001. So now this up here says the 2018, but as you can see down here, this is when it was published. And there's more where that came from. MODAR, I don't know where they got that little accent symbol from. Art or science? Modara.
Yeah.
Come on. I want it load. Come on. Opportunity gap between ASCO and US Gold. Come on. Come on, the people want to read it. Waiting for the cash. I saw another one somewhere. Okay, here we go. Christian Traders, blah, blah. Professional traders long recognize that mastering the art of momentum trading is often the difference between headlines and breadlines. The problem with the art, as with all artists, to do their best work, they must be properly motivated. They have to capture the movement, so to speak. Christian Traders senior contributor Savant appears to have successfully blended this elusive art form with his own brand of science dubbed investment intelligence. Evidence to support the scientific theory behind CT's MODAR is available by visiting christiantraders.com/MODAR. That page, that version of the site no longer exists, but at the time it did.
Well, so, remember in that period, we had some unbelievable winners from 2005 to 2007, including dry ships. Remember, from 4 to 40. Yeah. So we nailed it last year when we got dry ships from about 4 to 5 again before it went to 100 and all the way back down.
Check this out. So, this one was published. When was this one published? This was published in 2005 as well. Louis Yamada had just made headlines calling for gold to rise as high as $600, $700, maybe even $1,000. At the time, it was trading somewhere between $300 and $400, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That is an exceedingly...
It was 425. It was 425 in the first quarter of 2005.
That is an exceedingly bullish forecast coming from such a highly respected and conservatively viewed analyst as Ms. Yamada, who is credited with predicting oil would reach $67 per barrel long before most. Oil actually soared to an all-time record high of $70.85 on August 30th of 2005, with gold demand rising 14% last month and new calls for silver to hit $50 again. The growing tightness in supplies for both the gold and silver could usher in a major new 30-year bull move in metals, which we are still benefiting from today. And what was the all-time high in gold? 1800, 19? What was
1923. 1923.
Yep.
We're still in a bull market in gold because one of the, in the 90s, the gold came back to its point of origination. Silver got down to $3 rather, and then it made a higher high of $5 and then $9, and then the previous cycle, when that guy turned 5,000 into 100. Mm-hmm. That was when we went up from $9 the first time to 15 or 16, and then we came all the way back down to $9 again. I mean, that's what you have to be careful about these markets, because these things are very hard to see. I mean, I didn't really think that was going to happen, but it happened. And fortunately, that guy got out when that happened at 15 and didn't avoided giving all the money back to the market. I think I might as well tell you this story again. Back in 1979, I ran into a guy who's a lot like Bill Gross. He was a kind of a card player, and he was a very clever fellow. And he took 20,000 from 15 different people, and he took a small amount. I didn't have enough at the time to give him 20,000, but I gave him some. And he turned each of the 20,000 into 1.6 million, based on where gold was when it was at 875 on the night of January the 20th. And all those people were having a huge party instead of concentrating on the market, and they all lost about 600,000 overnight when the market opened up the next morning. And you know what? 13 out of those 15 people, what happened was they took control of their accounts from this guy after he made them all the money, right? And 13 out of 15 of them ended up giving the 1.6 million and more back to the market. So just like Garrett was saying a while back, this is sort of common. People get carried away in these bull markets, and they tend to.
I met Garrett about 4 years ago, and he was convinced the sky was falling then. And if he were here, I'd say the same thing. But he has been a perma-bear since I met him. He's a very nice guy. I like him a lot, and I like the work that he does. We don't always agree, but so. Take a look at this, John. Do you remember the CMKM diamond scandal?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I did press releases trying to expose it. We did radio shows telling people not to buy this stupid stock. I mean, I own 20 million. I own 20 million shares, but it only cost me about $20, I think. So, diamond mine scam netted more than 64 million. My buddy Mark Falk wrote a book, and I just saw that I was looking for. Used to be a letter I wrote to him. He died. I didn't know that he died. He died in 2014. Where did I see that? Urban Cassavant is dead, but don't expect all the suckers who dumped millions into his diamond mine stock scam to believe it. In fact, the cult of Cassavant and CMKM diamond swindle continue apace despite the officially confirmed end of the line for the penny stock mastermind. This guy, he had race cars, and he would go into different cities where he was showing off his race car, and he'd go to the children's hospital and hand out teddy bears, and people thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And Mark and I kept trying to tell everybody, the guy's a criminal, but nobody wanted to hear it, because they were going to invest $20 and make 20 million. And this guy was a Svengali like I've never seen before. And we'd call him up on the radio show. He'd hang up on us. It went on and on and on. And it truly was like a cult. I mean, that's how much these people believed. And then it evolved into people would say the Pal Talk rooms went 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Oh, it was a government sting operation. Then it was the Treasury was going to pay everybody all these millions of dollars that they had coming, not Urban or not the Diamond Company. Oh my God! And Mark Falk wrote a book, very good book, detailing the whole thing. He didn't miss a lick, and that book is called CMKM Diamonds: Counterfeiting the American Dream. I know people who lost their homes, their spouse, their jobs, and even some of them lost their life over this stock, this penny stock. I warn each and every one of you, never, ever, ever fall in love with a stock, especially a penny stock, okay? But if you're going to be a good investor, okay, this isn't about romance. This is about when the chart says sell, you sell. And this chart, this CMKM Diamonds thing, that chart never said buy, I bought those 20 million shares for, I don't know, it might have been $200 I spent, but I bought them because all the other investors say you don't have a right to talk down about this stock because you don't even own any. So I bought some. Plus, it just kind of felt nice to hold a stock cert in your hand for 20 million of anything. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was worth the $200 I spent on it. But we would call the SEC on the air. They would hang up on us. Then we would call Urban on the air. He would hang up on us. God, what a blast from the past all that is. And Bob Z, I think you were part of all that, weren't you? Yeah.
Who? What?
One of the guys in here, Bob Z. We know him by the name of a fruit, a tropical fruit. Modar, okay, Brian asked, Modar, was that an indicator that you developed? Well, it was a methodology. Mostly John's methodology. I kind of came up with the name, but he and I would sit there together. I was telling him yesterday after you left, remember when we had those things from Boost Mobile? They weren't cell phones, but they were like walkie-talkies. And even though you were in another country at the time, we could talk back and forth.
Right.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And see, back then, I didn't know I was supposed to keep the radio show to like 2 hours a day. I used to go from bell to bell. And then one day I realized I was very, very tired. I got to rethink this. I can't do this. Oh, man. All right. Anything? What do you want to cover?
I think we covered it all today. Just the grains did have a big run up overnight from yesterday, but they're still back and forth, not really moving yet. We're pulling back a little bit on the gold here, and the dust is picking up. So I'm not sure if we're going to break this record today, the way it's going right now. Anyway, listen, I better grab this.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
I'll talk to you over the weekend.
Thanks. Okay.
Guys, I just put the link into the chat box again that takes you to the CFRN.net top stock pick for 2017. Okay? Now, I'm going to fix that page when I have a chance, and it's going to say 2017/2018. Now, this research report that you can access here, it's a little bit dated at this point, but it's not only all of that stuff is still valid, but you then got to read all the press releases from the past year so that you really get a good idea of what the potential value of this company could be. The disclaimers right here. I currently own 400,000 shares. This was back, I've owned this stock a long time. Anyway, 400,000 shares I bought with my own money at a much higher price when the company was under previous management. My best friend, who traveled with me to Africa and was instrumental in helping us pull off the orphanage, get it built. Well, actually, we had it built. He helped us keep it running. He traveled there with me. He was 70. He was a legend here in the valley. And he called me one day and said, he used to be the CEO of Santa Fe and chairman of the board. He called me one day and he said, Dwayne, when I get on the treadmill at the country club, he goes, after about 7 minutes, I start to feel a pain in my chest. And I said, oh, Larry, stop. You can't do this. Go to the doctor. He says, no, if I sit down for a few minutes, it passes, and then I can do another 7 minutes. He says, so I'm just going to do it like that. And I said, oh, please don't. Well, he did. And a couple days later, he had a heart attack on that treadmill. It threw him off. And it wasn't the heart attack that killed him. It was he hit his head on some kind of like fire extinguisher valve thing on the wall. I did a bedside vigil for a week at the hospital. And then, I think it was on a Saturday. It had been an entire week. His family walked into the room and said, Dwayne, would you please leave? And I'm like, did I do something? I mean, I'd been there all week. They go, please, this is a family matter. I said, okay. And so I went out. They pulled the damn plug on him. I mean, I guess the doctor says he wasn't coming back, but anyway. So my history goes way back. Anyway, enough of that. I will work in 2017 to provide greater company exposure to the general public, additional exposure of the new management team, as well as the new business plan, which has been put in place. I have been compensated an additional, okay, so now this was bought with my own money at much higher prices, I've been compensated 200,000 shares of restricted stock as a payment for my consulting services. Total personal holdings are 600,000 shares, of which 400,000 are free trading and 200 are restricted. And I may add more or sell some at any time without any notice. So read all of this, okay? And always keep this in mind. Now, number one, you gotta know that penny stocks, and Merrill Lynch always considered anything under $5 a penny stock, okay? While they have, you know, the room for potential, for humongous upside potential, okay, like with Bitcoin. But look at what happened with Bitcoin, okay? Is it easier for a stock or anything to go from 10 cents to $1 or $10 to $100? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. In my own experience, I've seen a lot of things go from 10 cents to $1. I haven't seen a lot of things go from $10 to $100. Now, whether you invested $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, or $1 million, your percentage of return is the same with either one of these. So everybody said, let's load the boat. Well, hang on. Along with this tremendous upside potential comes risks that you won't find in, you know, Amazon or Apple. Not that they couldn't fall on hard times, they certainly could, but they got a long way to fall, all right? So when you deal with a speculative stock like this, okay, it's important to keep this in mind. Percentage of return is the same. Difference is the risk involved and also what you believe personally to be the best choice for you and your own personal financial situation. I personally bought my first share of this company in 1999. It went through a near-death experience and is now in the hands of a very capable management team, in my opinion. Just remember, trading is risky. You can lose all of your money. Speculative situations should only be approached with risk capital you can afford to lose. I do believe the new CEO of this company is focused not only on increasing shareholder value, I believe he is positioning the company to become the buyout target of a much larger company. Now, again, that is my opinion. That's not news, that's opinion. Simply my opinion. Not a licensed investment advisor. Seek professional advice from a licensed investment professional before making any investment decision. Make sure you read the full disclosure at the bottom of this page before you read the research report. Currently putting together fund number 1 of the CFRN family of funds, and yes, Santa Fe will be a part of the fund, as well as a few blue chips, some clever startups, and CFRN itself. This all kind of got put on hold because of the cryptocurrency thing. All right, this is still bubbling back there. I just got to get back to it. As things develop, you'll be notified both here and also on the Daily Radio Show, which is now in our 2nd decade of broadcast history. Now, when I told you guys about this in December of 2016, where was Santa Fe back in the day? Does it show up? Will it show up on this? Oh, let's see. 2016. That's 2016? Yeah. Okay, we need to get to December 2016. All right. Okay, right in here. Okay, this is when I announced it in December of 2016. And those who chose to participate got a piece of this. Got in a nickel, and the thing ran up to 20 cents. Then it came back and stayed at a dime for most of the year. And now we're back up into that area again. So, speculative investment. I believe it has incredible upside potential. Otherwise, I wouldn't make it the stock of the year again, okay, if I didn't still believe in it. If something had happened over the past year to make me lose faith or lose heart or lose hope, but every press release that comes out is positive. Every one that I've seen. I mean, the company did go through a near-death experience. Joan even said, hey, wasn't this a BK at one time? Yeah. And then a very smart man by the name of Tom Laws came along, and he picked up the pieces and he put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And this company is today stronger. I'm going to tell you guys something I never said on the radio before. At one time, this stock made a millionaire. It run to $2. It pulled back below $1. Then it went up to $1. Stayed at $1 for a really long time. But yeah, at $2, I could have cashed in my chips and be on a beach somewhere today. But I didn't. I didn't. And I don't hold today everything I once held. Everything in that disclaimer I hold, but I actually owned more than that at higher prices. So you live and you learn, you know. And here was my problem, is I had kind of fallen in love with the stock way back then, because Larry's my good friend, and I had never known anyone from his background who... Larry was one of the mythical Phoenix 40. This is a group of 40 power brokers in Phoenix. They swear they don't exist, the Phoenix 40. That's what they're called. But they swear. Larry goes, oh, I'm not. That's just a myth. That doesn't even exist. Wink, wink. He was 70. My dad and I have always lived apart. So he kind of was the dad I didn't have growing up, and he was kind of like a brother, you know, a Christian brother. And he was like my best friend. He never once looked down on me or treated me in any kind of way because I didn't have as many commas and zeros in my bank account as he did. It's like we were on an even keel. Now, he was a big man, and when we would fly to Africa, 18-hour trip, he would fly and coach. He could barely tuck himself into one of those seats, and I'm like, Larry, why don't you go up front and sit where you belong in first class? He's like, no. He goes, Dwayne, if I was by myself, I would, but with all these people we're taking to Africa, I'm not going to do that. That wouldn't look right. I was like, well, dude, you don't look right with your knees up under your chin. So anyway, now I'm just waxing eloquent and remembering, damn, how much I miss him, you know. We were having coffee at Starbucks, and 2 weeks later his wife called me. We had coffee at Starbucks. We spoke on the phone. I said, go see your doctor. And in a couple of days, bang. Life's precious, man. If there's somebody that you, if there's somebody out there who's a true friend, Mark Twain said, if a man dies with 5, I think it's 5 real friends, okay, not fair weather friends, not drinking buddies, okay, but 5 real friends, he has lived an incredibly blessed life. All right. So if there's somebody out there that for whatever reason, maybe you moved, you got a new job, but you were once tight and you were real friends, you need to pick up the phone. You know, you need to rekindle that, because it's hard to find in this lifetime, in this world. And something else, there's a book, I think, did Seth Godin write it? I'm not sure. But the point of the book is this: you will become the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Humans are kind of like sponges, you know, so you might kind of start to walk like this guy and talk like this guy and crack wise like this guy and, you know, smoke pot like this guy. Who knows? I don't know. Drink whiskey like the other. You will, and those 5, you know, they'll pick up things from you. It's a give and take relationship, but just think of yourself as a sponge, and that. So I became very careful about who the core group of men were that I surrounded myself with. So much so that I excluded some people that maybe should have been included. So I had a lot of friends, a lot of associates, but I had 2 people I call my best friend. And I'm not referring to John because he and I have always lived far apart from each other. But right here in Phoenix, I had 2 men I call my best friend. One was my pastor, and one was Larry. And within about 60 days of each other, Larry died, and my pastor and best friend moved to Africa to do the work I couldn't do because circumstances dictated that I adopt 2 children, my wife and I. My grandmother called me. She said, "Are you crazy?" And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "How old are you?" I go, "You know how old I am." She goes, "And you are adopting these 2 little kids?" And I go, "I'm so surprised to hear you say this, Granny. Didn't you always tell me to do the right thing?" She goes, "Yep." I said, "Is this the right thing?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I just know how tired you're going to be." She always spoke the truth, still speaks the truth. She's the only person in my family left alive. Except my uncle, who never really liked me for some reason. I don't know. He didn't like my dad either. They were brothers. So, but he's a nice man. Showers regularly, has a beautiful home. He was a pharmaceutical rep his whole career. He was always flying to exotic places like Sweden and things of that nature. All right, have I bored you guys enough? You had enough? Huh? Is there anything else I can do for you? As I head off into the BK is in, no, not Burger King, bankruptcy. Odd stories. Oh, good stories. I didn't get it right the first time. Odd stories. Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you, Brian. I'm full of them. I have just ripped another page from the life of Dwayne. It's not easy being Dwayne Reeves. I want you all to know that. Okay. But by the grace of God, somehow I've managed to pull it off for a lot of years. We were talking about that last night. If you had known, when you were 21, if you had known you would live to see New Year's Day 2018, would you have taken better care of yourself? Would you have done anything different? Yeah. We know we all would. But that's not how it plays out, is it? All right, here is soybeans. We had a very nice move. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. And another nice move. Okay? And that's per contract available. Do keep in mind that if you're trading the Concierge Trade Alerts, you'll never get out of the swing high or swing low. Why? Because we trail our stop. And if you trail your stop, you're going to always leave a little something on the table. NQ, last night, it said in the email to consider buying 66.23. So the first move up went to 39. So what's that? 16 points times $20 a point, $320 per contract. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. Back below the trigger, off we go again. And this time I did 600 per contract. Okay. The Russell, the Russell didn't do enough to, you got stopped out down here, and you might have got stopped out up here, hoping it was going to move higher. That's the truth about trading. We don't try to, when trade doesn't work out, we don't try to hide it. We don't sweep it under the carpet, because you'll just end up tripping over it. The Dow, last night's email said to consider buying 25,120, 40-point run up. Now look what price did. It pulled right back to the highest weekly trading zone for the Dow, consolidated, and then put in a 32-point run. If you're just around long enough and are exposed to this kind of stuff long enough, you'll get the hang of it. Bonds, that was a stop out probably there. Actually, it was a news report, so you probably shouldn't have even been trading it. If you sold this after the news, you had a chance to pick up 13 ticks at 31.25 per tick. Gold, the email last night said to consider selling 13.20, and there's $200 per contract available. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. This time down, it's $500 per contract available. Question is it going to come down again? I don't know. And I'm not psychic. And I don't play one on the radio. Crude. Something about crude, I don't know, the last month, something doesn't seem right. And that means absolutely nothing. Okay, last night's email on crude here. If anybody wants to make a screenshot, Here's your chance. Crude. Consider selling 61.50. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure you all know that you can take a free trial of the Concierge Trade Alerts. 1 week, costs you $1. And you get 2 training videos, plus you get a free one-on-one mentoring session with me so that you actually know how to use and trade the alerts, where to put your stops, all that kind of good stuff. Go to emini.cfrn.net, and right above the baseball player, click that link. You'll see it. It's self-explanatory. See, the situation we have right here, this zone on crude is, hang on, high 6120/25. So this should go up there. And this should go down here. Ooh. Despite multiple government warnings, Indians flock to crypto exchanges. Those guys just grind out news all day long. I'm going to be honest with you. I update our news site about twice a day. Bam, but they just pump it out all day long. So what did it say again? Wait a minute. I'm on crude. By 62.25. Wait a minute. Hold on there, Betty. Okay, 62.25. That's way up here. So that must not be what I'm doing. That's close enough. So what was the sell side? 61.50. Ah, okay, that's where it was. Now I knew that we would probably only get a 25-cent move out of this trade. So 61.50. Why did I think that? Well, because you got a zone right here, which is probably going to provide good support. The last time price pushed up and sellers knocked it down, it held. So the first time it comes back, I at least expect it to hold once, and it did. And it gave up the 25 cents or $250 per contract that I thought it was capable of delivering. Actually, it delivered about 200. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. And then this time it delivered a little more, probably about 300. See that? Now, if you go back and look at any of the recap videos of the Concierge Trade Alerts, go to emini.cfrn.net. Go back 2 years, okay? Find one of the longer radio shows and scoot up to the end of it where I'm recapping these, and you'll see that nothing has changed. I'm still using the same words, showing you the same stuff. You'll hear me years ago saying important prices, important areas are almost always tested, and pointing out examples just like this. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Last night in the Partners Workshop, I encouraged, there were some questions that were being asked, and they were valid questions and they were good questions. And after we gave them the answer to their question, I did go on to say, now be careful that you don't overthink this thing. Because we start looking at too many things, we get analysis paralysis, it's called. Which means you got so many things you're looking at, there's always going to be half of them saying no, 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 and the other half are going yeah, 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 yeah. And you don't know what to do. So, I mean, if you've heard me say this many times, if I just have the zones on the chart, I mean, you can even if you haven't been at this very long, you could navigate this, right? I don't know, mate. No, I don't want to put pressure on you that you should be able to do something you haven't learned to do yet, but all right, I'll just leave it at that. On the S&P, that's the only one we haven't covered. by 27.31. Yeah, what was I thinking? I know what I was thinking. I was thinking it wasn't going to go that high. But it did. I was looking at cash on the short side. All right, 27.31. Anybody here ever watched that TV show Disjointed? Oh, I think I asked you guys that yesterday. I can't think of the lady's name who was the main star. But it's like she was born to play that role. 27.31 up to 34.75. So that's a 3 3/4 points times $50 per point. 3.75. Except we never get out at the swing high or swing low because we trail our stop. Now, important prices, important areas are almost always tested, and so this time, how much did it give up? Well, what do you know? It gave up 3.75. Okie doke. We'll take that. Did we do the Dow? Oh, somebody asked earlier about Alan. Yes, I will. Alan asked, could I do a review of March 60-minute silver? I'd be happy to. Actually, what I wanted to do real quick was go to this. We were looking at this gas chart yesterday. Okay? Remember we talked about bearish cross? Even though this is a daily chart. Same indicators, same methodology. Bearish cross, price pulls away, price pulls back to physically touch, down close, sell the open of the next candle, -1 tick. Sweet. Then as price pulled back, see, when a market is trending, but this is daily, this isn't 5 minutes, okay, or a 4 tick range. Leg, retrace, leg, retrace. We should have had another leg, okay? So when this candle closes way up here, this daily candle, this far above the BBC, and your step line's about to run into the BBC, which negates the trade anyway, I mean, on the short side, but it opens the door to the long side, okay? So price ran up, but now it's doing something, a little unusual. We had the bullish cross. Since the bullish cross, has price pulled away? And some people go, yeah, right there. No, no, no. Bullish cross. Price has to pull away after the cross. See, right now, if it were to do an about face and run up, that would be pulling away after the cross. So there was never any trade set up to the long side. Now you've got to wait for it to pull away, or what I think it's going to probably do is roll over. Those are my thoughts. It's going to roll over, and we're going to, this was just a deeper retracement. Now, if it had taken out this swing high right here, it would be more than a deeper retracement. It would be what you call a reversal. But it didn't. Okay? Remember we talked about this is where your stop would need to be. And I only showed you this because I wanted you to understand. Go listen to those old radio shows. I'm singing the same song. Markets are fractal in nature. But if I take away these prices and I take away these dates, you couldn't tell me if this was a daily chart or a 1 minute chart or a monthly chart, because they all look the same and they all do the same things. How to keep you awake nights if you've never thought about it. Okay, give me the symbol, Alan, for the silver. I know it's GSI. What letter? GSI H. Okay. GSI, and you want it on a 60-minute. Okay. Let me get rid of the drawing objects. So we'll go to an hourly. And there's silver on a 1 hour chart. I think for the moment. Now, I'll show you something else in a minute that's really cool. And you'll go, whoa, I'm going to become a partner. Well, you should. But anyway, come on. Seriously, you should, because, you know, we have no plans to go anywhere. But you got to know, Michael and I aren't going to do this until they cart us off to the home, you know, to the managed care place. We're probably going to want to have, like, you know, some quality of life, you know, with our families and hang out, or have a cabin or a beach house or something. So while we are doing it, and we are teaching, and we are mentoring, I mean, if you really do want to learn how to trade, then there's only one thing you can do, and that's find a personal mentor who will teach you how to trade. Now, am I saying you can't teach yourself how to trade? No. Some people can and do, but it's a very steep hill. And it's a very expensive hill. Alright? So, you can get there the hard way or the simple way. There is no easy way. Alright? It just doesn't exist. So if you're thinking, you know, someday I'm going to become a partner and boy, I'm going to be trading them markets like those other guys, well, you know, you might want to kind of get your training going so that you have plenty of time. Now, again, to all current partners, we're not planning to, you know, beat feet and retire. I mean, Michael's younger than I am. Uh-oh. Please don't give me the blue screen at death again. Oh my goodness. My charts just crashed. And I didn't have them saved. Oh boy. Thank you, DT Pro. Ah, soul. Alright, Alan, only I would just leave, but because I told you I would look at the silver, I'm going to open the charts back up. If they'll open. Yeah, at least I didn't have a trade on. Well, you know, on the radio show here, I only use a demo platform because I could easily get distracted. I could click something, then all of a sudden you hear that thing in your headphones that tells you you just got spanked or stopped out or some other horrible thing happened to you. You're in a trade you didn't know you were in. An application is already running. Do you want to open another instance? No. Okay. I don't. Okay. Let's do Task Manager. Or not. Okay. Start Task Manager. Come on now. See, DT Pro's not running. But you see what? You see this? That's a problem. Because I don't... Okay, I do have GoToWebinar running. I do have my... whatchamacallit? My XSplit broadcaster, which is broadcasting the show live on YouTube and recording it. See, right here. But a browser window, GoToWebinar, and the streaming app should not eat up 86% of my physical memory. I know there's some computer guy in the audience that just can't wait to email me and say, I'll help you with that, brother. Alright, let's try it again. One of our partners pulled me out of the fire the last time my computer blew up. There is no other instance. Sure, why not? Let it go. Let it rip. Remind me later, friend. Sorry for the delay. Now, as soon as I do the silver for Alan, I'm out of here. Okay. Oh, God, I should have been out of here a long time ago. I got 2 mentoring sessions back to back. Okay. Let's see if this thing's going to load. This may require a reboot. Say it ain't so, Joe. Maybe if I close some of these tabs over here. My kids, Dad, do you realize you have 37 tabs open? Well, no, I hadn't counted them, but I believe you. There is a Chrome browser extension that you can get for free at the Chrome store. I think it's called Tab Wrangler, and it allows you to have 37 tabs open, but all the tabs except for the one you're actually looking at right now, they're not sucking up energy or memory. Tab Wrangler at the Chrome store. It's free. Okay. Can we get a green light? We got a green light. This is weird too. You see how my charts come up like ghosts or something? I got to click that. Boom, and then it springs to life. I don't know what that's all about. So, well, all I'm doing here is I'm going to the silver chart. There's an hour. Oh, and I wanted to get rid of this anyway. KGSIH. Okay. This is an hourly chart of silver. And Alan asked me to just take a look at it, see what I thought. I'll tell you what I want to do before I do that. I want to look at a daily real quick. Okay. Now, what do we have here? I mean, if we just looked at that, we'd go, oh my goodness, better get on board, it's leaving town, right? But as we look at the whole picture, we're getting ready to run into potentially a huge brick wall here. You see that? There's sellers here and there's sellers here. Now, I'm not saying the buyers can't overcome the sellers. Maybe they can. Handily so, perhaps. But the power in simply being aware. See, there's some people, they're just like, doo-doo-doo, this is so awesome. They don't know that they're about to be a crash test dummy and slam into a brick wall. And they walk away from the trade going, man, I just don't know what went wrong. Well, what went wrong is you did that and you never bothered to look left. If you don't know how to do this, watch me. I want the rectangle. Uh-oh. I messed up. Rectangle, come back. Here. Okay. You got to change this to just image. There we go. Now we can grab the rectangle. And the circle. The ellipse. Okay. There we go. I don't even know what that applies for, but anyway. Alright. So, if we come across here like that, yeah, there's going to be resistance there. It may, you know, it may only send price back down this low. Okay, the first time it hits it. But boy, that's sure enough to get your points for the day if you're trading silver. I don't know that many people that trade silver, though. Apparently Alan does. That's why he wanted me to take a look at it, I guess. So if we do a trend line like that, but we're going to make it really long to do what I want to do. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight it, Control C, left click my mouse up there, Control V. Okay, let's try that again, Control C and Control V. There it is. Now, the reason you do it that way is so that it's at the exact same angle. What you're attempting to figure out is if you have a channel. Oh boy, was there? Touch, 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 touch. At that time, it blew out the top. But there's a wall waiting for it. Again, not saying it can't get through. It's been on a pretty nice little run here. So, what do? Well, what I would do is I would wait till price got on the other side of this, and then I would attempt to put a trade together. A little something like this. No, a little something like that. In other words, I would buy, so say 1770 on a stop, and I would really tighten my stop up a lot at about 1820. So that's a, what is that, a 50-cent move? No, it is what it is. You could add more contracts, I guess, although margin is pretty high. So if this keeps moving, okay, I need to see it take out this high. I need to see it put in a higher high. And then I'm willing to be long 1770. If first or final, however you want to play it, first or final target at 1820. Okay. Now this is on the daily. I'm going to go to the 60-minute in just a second. This is daily. Took a long time for all this to happen. Now if I go up here and I grab that and I drag it all the way down to the most recent swing low, not only do we have sellers camping out up here ready to pounce on this thing, and they're going to pounce hard because look how far they were able to drive it down this time and this time. So yeah, it's coming. Who will persevere? I don't know. Now 62% reverse fib. That's not good for a long position until it can clear it. So it's got this obstacle and this obstacle so that it proves itself, and then we have what I call clear sky, where it should be able to move. Now it doesn't mean some big player can't come in and stomp it at $18. Okay. But in recent past, no one has. So that's 50-cent move based off daily chart. Okay. Now, let's say they do run into trouble here. Let's say they run into trouble right here. You know, the big advance kind of sputters out. Okay, so we do that. If it pulls back, where's it going to pull back to? Well, it might come back to 24. Look at these 38s. Look how they lay right on top of each other. And as days go by, that could be a trader Vic. It pulls back to the top of the trend line, which by then will also be the 38% retracement, two different ways, and then it puts in a leg to the upside. That could very well be how it plays out. Okay. Alright. Now let's go to the actual request, which was, what do you think about an hourly chart? I just meant to get rid of all my other fancy stuff and do this. Okay. So now let's see if we got a channel going. Oh, let me scrunch. Wow. That thing really has been on a tear. Yeah, I don't think I got any. I don't think I have a channel there. Not a good one anyway. Okay, so we won't worry about that. So this is an hourly chart. Okay, because this extends back so far on the hourly, well, we can still do it. Okay, from here to here. Okay. Now, where's price most likely to pull back to? Well, the 24 for sure. 38, you know, I would say the 24 is probably where it'll pull back to if it pulls back. Well, what if it doesn't pull back? Okay, then that means it's going to move higher, right? Maybe after some consolidation. So we go from here to here. Turn green, there you go. And that goes there. Now, if silver keeps it in gear, it's been climbing for a long time. Again, this is an hourly chart. These are potential upside targets based purely on Fibonacci math. Was that the best you got? Well, considering we haven't traded above this in quite a while, I would have to say yes. But you see where this high is? So, from where we sit, we're either going to go, in my humble opinion, to 1750, or we're going to get a pullback to 1690. From 1690 to 1750, that's only 60 cents. But that's most likely what's going to happen. Now, how else can we observe this? I'll show you. See, we were looking at the entire move there. Now, let's spread this baby out. And let's look at just the last leg. Going to be this guy, and that was news driven this morning, so I don't even really know how valuable that is. Okay, from a swing low to a swing high, pull back to the 38, and it's just been consolidating here. Okay, well, what about if we do this and go from here to here, and then we grab this guy and we pull it down here. 1742 sounds an awful lot like that 1750 we were just talking about. So where do you make your move? Well, based on the chart we looked at earlier, which was a daily, we know we've got some resistance. Is it right there? I guess so. And then the next major resistance is way up here at 1750. Oh, there's 1750 again. You see how these two 238s right here lined up? when I did extensions and I did retracements. You see that? Okay, it's like a magnet. So that's why price has, after this, has come back to this. So you got a double top right there. The market really has some work cut out for it. Now, I've not really given you a specific trade, Alan, but just walking through the chart, the daily and the hourly, does that give you a good idea of what you want to do, how you want to trade this? Beautiful. He said yes. That is fantastic. He and I have been doing this for a couple of years. So it could trader Vic back down to the upper trend line. Yes, Mike, that's it. I didn't see that you had typed that, but I agree with you 100%. It could absolutely do that for however many days it takes. It might take, you know, it could be 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. No way to tell. O'Brien said go to processes and task manager is another way to end instances. You're very welcome, Al. My pleasure. Glad it helped. O'Brien, sounds like you know a little bit about what you're talking about there. So there's not anything I want to close right now. And in processes, because you don't know what half the stuff is, you end up closing something that is necessary for Windows to run. Well, I got 123 processes. Is that high? I wonder if some of my RAM burned out or something. Maybe I need fresh RAM. Maybe I need a new computer. My RAM is 100%. Okay, where did you see that? Oh, right here? Is this it? It's maxed out? Okay, so that's a problem, right? Now it has 8 gigs of RAM. Why does it just say 6.82? I guess it could go up another little bar, but yeah, okay. I think you're right. But you know, when I first had, I had this computer custom built. It's in a really nice insulated case. You can't hear a thing. It's got like 5 fans in the case. But anyway, it's pretty tall too. But anyway, when I first got it, it was lightning fast. Now, what would cause, I mean, RAM doesn't wear out, does it, Brian? Doesn't get old and tired, does it? Does it burn out, burn up? It could burn out. Is there any kind of self-test that you can run to check, you know, if your RAM's firing on all cylinders or if there's an issue? Some kind of system test or something? Or you just have to open it up, yank out the RAM, and put new RAM in? I have an i7 chip. Why the guy who custom built it for me put in an i7 chip and only 8 gigs of RAM? I still haven't figured that out. Alright. Well, I told you it's not easy being Dwayne Reeves. I gotta go, guys. I have to take a little rest before the mentoring session, because I take the mentoring sessions pretty seriously. You know that if you've been in one with me. Yeah, so I want to be on top of my game, as they say. Alright, well, I don't know what you guys are going to do this weekend. I'm going to do as little as I can and get away with it, you know. Brian says, clean up RAM, understand how programs use RAM. Programs store temporary data in the computer's RAM while the computer program is running. Yes, I understand that. Close extra windows. If you have multiple programs on your screen, close the ones you aren't using. If you have a chat program running but aren't using it, close background programs. Keep programs from starting with Windows. Force close background programs. Okay. Oh, I missed there is a program that cleans up RAM. I'm trying to remember the name. I'll Google it, and I'll give that a try and see what happens. I've ran all the malware tests and stuff, and there's no bug in it that can be found. It's just over time, as you install different things and uninstall them and whatnot, little pieces and bits get left behind and files that aren't used. And every computer I've ever had, I would use it until it slowed down that it was excruciating to use it anymore. I'd shove it in the closet or in the garage and just go get another one. So I got this one. My other one got so slow, I had a guy build this. It's about $5,000 worth of computer, and he charged me $900 to build it. So I came home a happy camper that day. And then when I first turned it on, I mean, it's a big thing, much more like a server than a computer. But anyway, I got it home. I plugged it in. I hooked up all my monitors, flat panel, everything, and I turned it on, and it didn't make a sound. Nothing. I'm like, oh man, that guy saw me coming. He had me go way out to Santan to pay him because I'll never find him out there, you know. And then all of a sudden my screens came to life, and I'm like, wait, how's that possible? Computer's not even running. It was running, but so silently I couldn't hear it. Oh man, I was like a kid at Christmas. All right, I gotta go. It's the weekend. CFRN law states that you must spend quality time with your family. Of course, I'll see you in church on Sunday. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.